Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Van Churn.
And my name is Patrick Ferry.
And welcome to our show. Well, guys, we're back again this week, and we got another great episode for you. Isn't that right, Pat?
That's right, Austin. We're going to start over with Celtic and one of our favorite U.S. young attackers making a huge impact off the bench.
That's right. And going back to the Bundesliga, we're going to talk about another strong performance from one of our key U.S. men's national team players.
Love to see that. And also, we're going to touch on some more Scottish Yankees arriving, Austin, over to Celtic. So exciting news, and can't wait to report more on them.
That's right. We got some good stuff in today's episode. So I think we should go and get into it.
All right, guys. So the first player we're going to talk about is Tim Weah with Celtic, Austin. So again, that exciting young attacker made a huge impact off the bench in the 2-0 win over St. Johnston. Tim Weah actually subbed on in the 73rd minute and got his first assist in the 78th minute. It was a nice little ball played across to him. He had a really good controlled touch with his left foot. Kind of took a few more touches on the side, the left flank there, and crossed it in beautifully across the like the 6-yard box, kind of in the air there. And I forget who finished it off, but it was a nice goal, a nice setup for Tim Weah.
Yeah, I think it was James Forrest, one of the longtime Celtic players.
A Celtic legend.
Yeah, in his own right. So, yeah, it was a cool assist.
Yeah, great to see. Yeah, Austin, like just an immediate impact made, just only a few minutes in, and then just to get to the exciting goal that Tim Weah produced in the 89th minute. There was kind of a counterattack, and he played a beautiful ball across to the left side of the field, and he kept making a darting run down in the right flank. But I think he played it across to McGregor, and McGregor eventually kind of took it down farther, played a beautiful ball just on the ground across the box to Tim Weah, who slotted it home. So that really capped off a really fantastic brief cameo, but really effective nonetheless. And we know Brendan Rodgers thought very highly of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what Brendan Rodgers called Tim Weah's performance in this game, which was brilliant. So
brilliant.
I think that word suits Tim Weah's performance pretty well. So
I like it. And yeah, Austin, he also was brilliant with the Celtic supporters, going over to the kids after and just celebrating passionately with the fans. He's all about, holding that crest, whether it's the US one or the Celtic.
That's right. He's a passionate man. He plays with his heart on his sleeve,
Yeah, he does. But yeah, again, just really I saw some of the other highlights too and some quick videos, and he really looks like he's finding his feet there and really blending in with the Celtic players. Again, St. Johnston's not the strongest of SPL teams, Austin, but again, just really, really good to see him involved, making really clever runs that we've seen the last few games that he's been involved. And just want to read out the stat for you guys really quick. In the 5 games Tim Weah has played, 3 goals and an assist just in 143 minutes played. So you can see he's making a huge impact.
Yeah, that is, his performances so far for Celtic have been really, really impressive, especially since he spent, the first half of the season kind of sitting the bench and, playing for, I guess, the reserves at PSG.
Right.
Kind of not even playing from what I heard. So
yeah, and that's kind of
make an impact like that. That's pretty impressive.
That's a really good point you bring up too, because it's concerning for a guy who was involved during the Sargent era. Just looked pretty good in some cameos, and then going back to PSG. I think what he played initially, like the first.
Yeah, he played when some of the players were coming back from the World Cup. So he played. I think it was like the cup final or the cup final before the season. I'm not sure what they call it in France. And then he played, I think, in the first Ligue 1 game for PSG, and he scored in both of those games. So it's pretty impressive.
It is impressive.
Unfortunately, they didn't stick with Tim for the rest of that first part of the season because they signed Choupo-Moting from Stoke City to basically play his role, which was just an attacker to come off the bench, which is unfortunate.
Brutal.
But
Brutal. But yeah, Austin, again, great to see him, because I was a little worried about the rust and just kind of, again, finding that form. And it really looks like he, like he mentioned, he did learn a lot from, Neymar and Cavani and some of those other PSG players. Maybe he's kind of taking some of those lessons and bringing them over to Celtic. And again, I think what I'd really like to see, just continue the strong form, be a starter, for Celtic,
right?
As they get the season kind of, I guess, towards the end here. Capture those Scottish titles and cups and whatnot. But yeah, I think he's got a really bright future, at least for this kind of 2019 just beginning.
Yeah, you're saying he's got a bright spring with Celtic. You think it's going to continue?
Right. Okay. Yeah, Celtic future, to clarify.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Pat. I think the Celtic moves are really paying off. I think it was a good move in retrospect. Now he's just got to, like you said, become a starter or a consistent starter, and that would be, even better.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Finish this loan.
And just, I guess, kind of a question we were talking a little bit before. What would you kind of like to see, I guess, Tim Weah possibly go on loan maybe next year if he continues this good run of form? Is there somewhere maybe that you'd like to see him, or a certain league maybe? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how he finishes his year with Celtic. If he can really consistently, put up goals and get a few more assists by the end of the year, then I think maybe taking a step up from Celtic would be cool to see next year. And I think something that he should look into, or at least PSG should maybe look into. But if he scores a few more goals and maybe finishes this year with like 8 goals and 5 assists, or 8 goals and 4 assists, or something like that, then I honestly wouldn't be opposed to him coming back to Celtic for another half season or a year, if he can be that consistent starter and be a difference maker for Celtic.
Yeah,
because they're going to be probably in the Champions League next year. So if Tim Weah can get consistent Champions League minutes, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I think you have another option or another loan move in mind. So where would you think maybe Tim Weah should go after this loan?
That's a tough one. But I know we were talking a little bit, maybe back to Ligue 1, and I don't know if Monaco's the right sinking to join, but I was even thinking Patrick Vieira's team with Nice.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be an interesting move, just because that's a pretty good team. Obviously not the Lyon or the PSGs kind of up there, but certainly not a Nantes or one of those teams. Bashing them. Sorry, now that Miazga's gone, but
right.
I think that would also be a good move. But I do really like your point. Back to Celtic, if he were to go back and get consistent minutes in the Champions League, is just crucial, because we've even seen Horvath with Bruges playing on a team that's dominating their league, but just getting consistent Champions League minutes, and he's really impressed there. And I'd love to see Tim Weah get into the biggest stage in Europe too.
Yeah, because like if he did go back and was a starter for Celtic for a full season, hopefully he'd get close to 2,500 minutes under his belt, or even 3,000 minutes under his belt in a season. And by the end of next season, I think he'll be only 20 years old. So
he's so young. So much.
If he could do something like that, then I'm all for it. Even if it is at a lower competition for the league, just getting that experience as someone that the team relies upon to score goals, I think would be a good position to be in if he can't secure a move, like you said, to Ligue 1 where it makes sense for him.
Completely agree, Austin. But for now, we will enjoy Tim Weah in paradise.
That's right. Enjoy it as long as we can. Timo.
Oh, yeah. But shifting to one of your favorite consistent performers now in the Bundesliga, it's exciting to see, Austin.
That's right. I've been very excited to see this player, and that would be Tyler Adams. So Tyler played really well again for Leipzig this weekend in Leipzig's 3-0 win over Hanover. He started the game, played all 90 minutes, and was one of the best players on the pitch on the day. He did a really good job of connecting play kind of in the final third, and had a really nice ball into the box on a set piece early in the game that was really well designed, and was cool to see him be so integral kind of in what Leipzig did on the day. And he did his thing in defense as well, getting back winning. I think he won all 4 of his aerial duels, which was kind of surprising because he was going up against some bigger players like Jonatas. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that name, but the Brazilian striker on Hanover early in the first half gave him a good elbow to the head, and he was actually down for a few minutes. But it was funny to see after losing that challenge. I guess he won it or didn't win it, whatever happened. Maybe it was a foul, that's why it wasn't counted. But later on in the first half, because he did get hit pretty hard, he actually stayed down and made Jonatas kind of go over him and then won the duel, which was kind of cool to see.
Nice.
He was using his smarts or his wit for the game. So
that's great to see, Austin. Very fearless.
Yeah, especially at what is he, like 5'8", 5'9"?
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah, he's not that tall. Yeah.
So he looked really good again. Hanover isn't a very good team. They're close to the bottom of the Bundesliga, I believe, in the relegation zone right now. So 2 good performances from him to start his Bundesliga campaign against a few weaker teams. But next week, I think if he can stay in that starting lineup, and I think he deserves to be in the starting lineup after these 2 performances. He'll be going up against Eintracht Frankfurt, which is a very good team that's still in the Europa League this year, and put on a really good fight against Dortmund this weekend. So that should be a good game next week.
Yeah, we got a lot of Tyler Adams to watch going on, Austin. And yeah, like you said, I think it'd be great just to see him play against a really high quality Bundesliga team there.
Yeah, I really like what Frankfurt has this year too. Just a lot of their players, they're a really good team. So I guess it's also important to note before we move on here that Tyler actually made the Bundesliga Team of the Week on WhoScored.com. So that's a pretty impressive accomplishment. In only his 2nd game, he's already in the Bundesliga Team of the Week. So
yeah, that's awesome, and I think it's a really good testament to it looks good for the MLS, and it looks good for just American players that I'm sure a lot of the German media and fans are very impressed with Tyler Adams so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything the right way. Like, he's come in and just looked, really comfortable on the ball. And he's just been a difference maker already for Leipzig, which I think is really impressive, since Leipzig is one of the top teams in the Bundesliga to come in at that high quality and faster style of play, because Leipzig like to play very fast. It's very impressive that he's really taken to the Bundesliga this quick. So.
And it's awesome, and I love just consistently talking about him, Austin, again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll never get tired of talking about Tyler Adams. So, and we're happy we get to talk about Tyler Adams now. So, that's a welcome change for 2019. So,
that's right. That's right.
Hopefully, we have many more episodes to come where we feature him. So, now I guess let's go back to Scotland, Pat, once again.
The Scottish Yanks, Austin.
That's right. We got a lot of them this year.
Yeah, we have Manny Perez and Andrew Gutman. So, take your choice, whoever we want to talk about first.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with Manny Perez, that is. So Manny was I guess he was a sophomore this year at NC State, and the NCAA in college, and came out, I guess, after this year, and went on trial with Celtic right before the winter, or I guess in December, and then ended up signing for Celtic this week. So congrats to him. He'll be going on loan to, I believe it's North Carolina FC in the USL.
Yep, that's right, in the second division there.
And it's interesting to note that he actually played for this team before he went to college on like a youth contract, or however the USL does it, where they can allow players to play for them but not lose their eligibility.
Right. So yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. Yeah, because I know some teams, like even the small team, I know it's in the lower league, but the Ocean City Nor'easters, Austin, New Jersey. They take on a lot of Division I college players in the summer.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's interesting how that works. So I'm just curious about, obviously, the Manny Perez situation, those few months maybe that they're not playing college soccer, that they're able to play in a league like that. Yeah,
that is interesting. Yeah, I didn't think it was as prevalent as it sounds like, but that's definitely interesting. But yeah, I guess we could look up some more about that. But yeah, I mean, he was. I think it happened with Haji Wright as well. Haji played for the Cosmos before going abroad, but
And
I guess he didn't go to
too.
college. So
I think Nick did.
Yeah,
Carolina Railhawks, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's actually North Carolina FC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think,
you're
but
right,
I'm
actually.
not 100% sure. So, yeah, I guess, that's cool little tidbits right there for you guys. So, yeah, so Manny Perez will be going on loan to North Carolina FC, and we think that's because he's unable to get a work permit to play in the UK. So that's why they loaned him back to America, and that's why they loaned him back to, I guess, a USL team. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, how many minutes he gets this year in USL, especially since he's familiar with the team. I'm guessing he'll slot in as a starter right away. I guess that's the plan.
And that's a really, really good point you brought up too, just the kind of theory of the work issues, just because it is interesting being signed to a top team like Celtic, and then kind of being loaned out to a second division team in the U.S. It does seem a little, unique, I guess, that situation.
Yeah, that's a very good word to describe it. Unique, yes. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure he would love to be in Scotland, even playing for a championship, or Scottish championship team there, kind of like Ian Harkes is doing right now. But yeah, I guess now he's back in USL, so we'll see what he can do there. I think he's 19 years old right now. Was a part of the CONCACAF U20 championship this past fall. Didn't look as great as I think a lot of people were expecting in that tournament, but the level of play, and Pat, you can attest to this because you actually attended a game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, again, he didn't, like you said, didn't stand out, but again, didn't really have to do too much defending back there. So
right. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, the level of play, like we just said, was not so great. So it's not surprising, I guess, that he didn't stand out. But he does like to get forward a lot as a right back, and actually I think played kind of as a right mid in college. So that's something to be on the lookout for. And yeah, I think he's a pretty good prospect. We'll see what his future holds when he can get that work permit. And hopefully it can, I think he's good enough to be a part of this U20 World Cup roster. We have a lot of good up-and-coming outside backs, it seems, at the moment, where a few years ago we didn't even have enough at the, full international level. Now we have a war chest, it seems, of young up-and-comers.
Yeah, that's a good it's a good description. Yeah, they're constantly coming in, so awesome to see. And they're all heading to Europe.
That's right, which is great. It's good for us too. So
right, and another outside back, Austin, we want to talk about too, going to Celtic, is Andrew Gutman. He's a 22-year-old back, and he actually played at Indiana University. I believe he was there for 3 years, and he just won this past year the highest award you can in college soccer, the Herman Trophy, the Heisman, I guess, as in American football there.
That's good to know. I wouldn't have known that. So
fun fact. But yeah, again, Austin, I know the really unique situation too with him and the loan situation. He was supposed to go back to Nashville in the USL, and that's a team actually that is, I believe, going to be an MLS expansion team in 2020. And Nashville came out with a statement. I'm not sure if this was a few days ago or just yesterday or even today, but very, very recently, and said that they kind of, revoked or, put a halt to the loan deal because it sounded like they didn't want to step on maybe Chicago's toes, or they weren't sure about the rights to certain homegrown players. If that was my kind of understanding, it's a little confusing. I don't know if you want to share some clarity there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much more than what you just said. I know Chicago didn't like it and complained to the MLS front office or something to that effect. So, I don't really see the deal or the big issue. Like you said, Nashville SC is in the USL right now. So I don't understand why in a year, unless, Andrew's still with them in a year, this really impacts Chicago.
Yeah, I'm not really sure at all. And just, I guess, to note too, he was in the Chicago Fire Academy before going to obviously Indiana there. So he had that option of, Chicago wanted him to take that homegrown deal, and he said, nope, I'm trying the Celtics. So again, hopefully this works out, and Celtic will find a home for him, a temporary home. But again, I think it's a really good move and a testament to show that players, even like these we just mentioned from the college soccer system are getting looked at by Celtic and some other top teams around Europe.
Yeah, it's definitely, impressive to see two college guys, go overseas to a historic club like Celtic and get contracts. So yeah, we'll see. I'm a little concerned about Andrew just because, if he can't play for Nashville SC, does that mean he can't play for any USL team, or just because Nashville was a team coming into the MLS, like you said, in 2020? So hopefully, he can get a loan to, I guess, a USL team. That's the goal.
Yeah, I guess so. Or with Ian Harkes, right, over in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the work. I think the work permit issue is the reason why these players are getting loaned back to the U.S. So I wouldn't mind seeing him play over in Scotland, to be honest with you. But I don't know if he can't play in USL, then I don't know. Chicago's kind of I guess getting revenge on him, which is just kind of petty.
Yeah, that's been one of the rumors there that obviously the Chicago office was not too happy, but again, who knows? All speculation, but yeah, hopefully Andrew gets everything sorted out.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for. So I guess time will tell, and we'll report back to you guys for sure. So now let's move away from Scotland and let's go to Germany and talk about another young up-and-coming striker this time, and that would be Josh Sargent. So Josh played another 45 minutes again this weekend for Werder Bremen in their unfortunate 1-1 draw with FC Nuremberg, which is a team that's towards the bottom of the Bundesliga as well, kind of like Hanover. And in this game, it's sad to say, but Josh didn't look so great in this game. So just from my analysis, he looked during the game a little bit timid. He wasn't really involved much in the 45 minutes that he played at all. Got on the ball a little bit and lost it a few times, but also won a few fouls and passed the ball around a little bit, but didn't really get involved in much attacking play, to be completely honest. He did make some good runs, but for what we're coming to expect from Josh Sargent in all the games we've watched of him, I was expecting more from him in this performance. This was a game where Werder Bremen needed someone to step up, and Johannes Eggestein, one of his attackers that is kind of vying for the same position as him. Jonas Eggestein is a striker, can also kind of play on the wings a little bit more than Josh, but he was the one to step up and score the goal to give Bremen the lead. And then unfortunately, they lost the lead later on in the game. So, this was a moment for Josh to really cement himself in the Bremen squad in my mind. And I don't think he really did enough in this game to really show that he deserved to be, the first striker, the first attacker that they throw into games for the next game, at least.
Right.
Still young and inconsistent, but
and you'd really like to see him, have a really strong performance against a team towards the bottom that might not be playing, at the full potential. Their morale's cut down. I'm sure everyone, we were all hoping that he would put on a strong display.
Exactly. Yeah. And this was the team that, like you said, Pat, they didn't have a very high morale. You could see it during the game. They were very frustrated. They weren't on the same page at times going forward and wasted a lot of good opportunities throughout the game. So it was definitely a team that was not, one of the better teams in the Bundesliga and was playing, higher than where their position shows on the day. They didn't play a very good game. And, like I kind of alluded to before, we just come to expect, I guess, a little bit more of Josh. And I would be the first to say, if he probably did even the smallest of things, incredible, I would be the first to, be all about, Josh playing really well and support, not supporting him, but I'm always going to support him. That's why
we're hyping him up. We're hyping him up.
Yeah, but I guess I would be the first to kind of hype him up a little bit and I guess maybe read into little things a little bit more than that. But like I said, in this game, and anyone who has Fox Soccer Match Pass can go watch the game. He didn't really play that well. So, if you wanna take it up with me on Twitter and or in the comments, go for it. I'd love to interact with you guys always in a civil manner. But
hey, you're speaking the truth.
Yeah, that's right. So I obviously think Josh is going to have a very bright future and he's gonna get it sorted out here. But at the moment, he's kind of out of form a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what the next game holds. Like I alluded to, Jonas Eggestein was the one who looked better as a sub coming on in this game. So if Josh comes on next game, I guess I won't be surprised, because like I said, he's a young, inconsistent player. He's bound to have a few bad performances from time to time. But I think this was an opportunity that unfortunately he kind of missed. But there'll be more to come. So
yeah, that's the key. Hopefully, like you mentioned, he has a bright future, and I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. And again, maybe it won't have the perfect dream start that we want, but we'll kind of learn from these kind of poor games, and really kind of study some of the Bremen strikers, and then just obviously make sure that he's always consistently learning, and not shying away, and calling for the ball, and being more of that hungry attacker that he needs to be in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, and he's got some good people to learn from, like Claudio Pizarro this year, who's Bundesliga striker who's kind of done it all and seen it all. So I think he'll get out of this funk a little bit and get back on the right track. So yeah, and we'll be there every step of the way, Pat.
Every step of the way, Austin. That's right.
So so now let's go over to England and talk about a player who just recently made a move, and we talked about last week, but we're gonna talk about him again this week. So who would that be, Pat?
That's right, Austin, and that is none other than Matt Miazga, really thriving at Reading now that he is off out of France.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, he was involved full 90 minutes in a clean sheet for a 0-0 draw for Reading. Again, it was against Aston Villa, who's a pretty decent opponent, but the Reading is sitting dangerously low in the championship. I think they're in the 3rd spot, which is the relegation spot still, going down to League One. But it is good to note that since Miazga has been directly loaned in and inserted into the lineup, Reading's defense has looked much better, and they haven't gotten a clean sheet in a little while. So it was great to see them, again, kind of keep the goal tallies down low, and Miazga, as usual, dominating aerial duels in a physical league. So really good to see him, kind of, again, like we've mentioned, break out of that really bad time in France and kind of pick up where he left off at Vitesse and some of the other clubs he was at.
Yeah, it's good to see him, back on the field consistently and as a key defender for, a team that's kind of fighting for their lives.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see a lot of the championship. I feel like there's a little side note, but Antonee Robinson, I think CCV last year, maybe something around that time frame. A lot of the American defenders in the championship seem to be on teams that are really pushing relegation, which I found kind of funny.
Yeah.
But, good for pressure situations, I guess.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Lyndon Gooch even last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but again, Miazga as probably one of our, solid staple holders for the center back position in many years to come. He really needs to be. I think this is just a crucial, point where he's not 19 or 20 anymore. He's, kind of getting into the prime of his age there in his career,
right,
where I think I would love to see him just being, a consistent starter, like you mentioned, a low Premier League level team or just somewhere in a first division. I think would be great.
Yeah, I think that would be the best, situation for him right now. Like you said, if he's going to be our consistent starter at center back, which in my mind, I don't think we have many other center backs that are better than him. So some would maybe argue Aaron Long, but I don't know. I still would take Miazga at the moment.
Yeah,
just 'cause I like what he brings on that, like the grittiness factor. He's kind of just a grinded out center back in my mind, even if he does make the occasional mistake, or he gets a yellow card or red card.
Right. Yeah, he definitely has those faults, but yeah, you're right. That kind of grittiness really kind of embodies the U.S. and excuse me. I think you do again bring up really good points for Matt Miazga. So hopefully he can get Reading out of the relegation zone there and keep continuing his wherever he goes on loan next.
Yeah, that's true. So far, so good, right?
So far, so good. So let's fingers crossed and keep up those clean sheets, Matt. But shifting back to the Bundesliga, Austin, with another young, exciting player, and there's some great news to finally bring up here.
That's right, and this will be our final player for the segment, and that would be Taylor Booth. So I'm pretty sure we brought this move up in a previous episode, but I can't remember exactly what episode it was. But it was officially announced last week that Taylor Booth will be officially moving to Bayern Munich, and he just signed right before the end of the January transfer window. And from what I've read on Twitter, so it's not 100% accurate probably, but a lot of people seem to know what they're talking about, for better or for worse, I guess. But it sounds like just because or since this move happened right before the end of the January transfer window, Taylor should be eligible to play with Bayern's youth teams this upcoming spring. So he'll probably start off with the Bayern U19 team. I know right now he's training with the U23 team over in Dallas, actually, in the U.S., because their U23 team is there to partake in some friendlies or something, a tournament. But so once he gets up to speed and up to fitness, he'll probably start off with that U19 team. And again, that Bayern U19 team, Pat, is
a lot of Americans, Austin.
Yeah, it's chock full of Americans, and that would be players like Chris Richards, even some dual nats like Malik Tillman, Justin Butler, I believe, is still on that team. So if he can get time for that U19 team, that would be pretty impressive. He's only 17 right now, so
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And yeah, again, I think we've had some good, rare, reviews, like you mentioned, just on Twitter and stuff, of Booth's play, and it's again another exciting young prospect. And I think there's a few of them that are going to come out of that Bayern Academy and do great things, Austin. And why not Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Taylor. I know, from what was it? I guess 2017 in the U17 World Cup, he was a player who came on in an absence of, I think, Chris Gosling for one of the games, and he looked really good in my mind. I didn't really know what to expect because obviously, he was a player that not many people have heard of before that U17 World Cup, and he was obviously one of the younger players on that team who came in, made the really strong performance in that game. So I like his ability going forward. I also like his ability to put a foot in and make a strong tackle from time to time. So just wanted to also mention, Pat, he was also number 17 on our 19 under 19 list that we put out earlier this year. So
that's right. So all you Yaw viewers, go back and check out that list again. That's
right. Yeah, give it a look, and that just shows you how highly we rank him. So. I'm really excited about his move, and Bayern's going to be a good place for, it seems like, a lot of North American talents coming up. So
that's right. The U.S. and dangerously enough, Canada with Alphonso Davies, a few other, they're coming along too. So it is a North American hotspot there.
That's right. They can't get enough of their North American talents. So it'll be fun to keep an eye on Bayern, I guess, in the coming years. So
that's right. That's right.
So, so that's all we have for this part of our episode. Now let's head over to Quick Kicks.
And now, you guys already know, for you dedicated Yaw viewers, it's our favorite part of the show. None other than Quick Kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
All right, guys, so the first player we want to start off Quick Kicks today with is none other than Christian Pulisic. So Christian came on for the final 25 minutes this weekend in Dortmund's 1-1 draw with Eintracht Frankfurt.
And also, we're going to shift gears over to the English Championship, where Cameron Carter-Vickers and Swansea had an unfortunate loss to Bristol City, 2-0. But Cameron Carter-Vickers did play the full 90.
And going back to Germany, we want to let you guys know that Weston McKennie played 90 minutes for Schalke in their unfortunate 2-0 loss over the weekend to Gladbach.
That's tough. But some bright news, positive news. Antonee Robinson is sighting back in training. So it's really good to see him since November with that injury picked up at the U.S. camp. So congrats to Anthony, and keep going on that speedy recovery.
That's right. And to keep the good news rolling, we have Sebastian Soto, who had a goal and assist this weekend for Hannover's U19s in their 4-1 win. So congrats to Sebastian.
That's awesome, Austin. And unfortunately, we're taking another downturn here with our boy Novakovich. Had an apparent leg injury for Fortuna Sittard in their brutal 4-0 loss against PSV. So we're hoping everything's okay with Andrija there.
That's unfortunate to hear. But moving back over to Germany, we have Alex Mendez, who made his debut for Freiburg's U19s this weekend, coming on and playing the final 14 minutes in their 3-1 win over Karlsruhe's U19s. So congrats to Alex. Big things on the way for him.
Big things. We like that. And Duane Holmes in the championship for Derby County made a surprise start at right back and played the full 90 in a 0-0 draw against Preston North End.
And staying in England, we want to let you guys know again that Charlie Kelman came on for the final 9 minutes of Southend United's unfortunate 2-1 loss to Bristol Rovers. So another performance or appearance for Charlie Kelman this weekend.
It's good to hear. And also some exciting news out in Argentina. Joel Soñora got his first goal in the Argentina Superliga. Came on in the 65th minute and added that third goal in a 3-1 win for Talleres. So congrats to Joel. And finally, we're heading over to Spain, where Shaq Moore has been playing with the Levante's second team, Atletico Levante, and played the full 90 in a 1-0 win over Villarreal too.
And to end today's episode, we want to bring you guys another, but this time, I guess, not so young, So that would be Jonathan Cisneros, who's a 22-year-old midfielder, originally from Dallas, Texas, who just signed with Leganes over in La Liga, over in Spain. So he's also eligible to play for Honduras and El Salvador, but definitely, a big move for another American and someone to keep your eyes on. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe down below.
And don't forget to check out our exciting social media pages on Instagram and Twitter, where we're always providing great content for you viewers.
That's right. Make sure to leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the episode and what players you want to hear us talk about in the future.
That's right. And hopefully we'll keep getting more players into Celtic, Austin, and all these other clubs in Europe.
We need some more Scottish Yankees.
That's right. That's right. We all need them playing Champions League, Europa League, and the top leagues in Europe, because one day what will happen?
One day we will win the elusive World Cup.